Andre said before, back at his media day, that the first day you saw him in camp, that you said something's different here. Well, can you elaborate on that?
Well, we didn't make any excuses what was hampering us. We never said anything, but the fact of the matter is he wasn't able to run for the first fight because of flare-up in his knee.
For how long?
The whole camp. Flare-up in his knee.
Oh, wow.
And so we just didn't want to take a chance and postpone something as, big as that. So we just found other measures to stay the bike and burst climber. Don't take the place of running, but it's close. So 2 weeks, I believe, after we found the right doctor, I believe, that treated Kobe, and man, the guy was amazing. I mean, just one diagnosis and a couple of treatments, and it was something simple. It just been hampering him all the years because the surgery was successful, but it was something creating a lot of fluid all the time, and he found a sac that nobody else saw. He identified it immediately, so he drained it, treated it, drained it again, and from that point on, everything's right.
Now, Andre said this fight will probably not be as close as the first. Why is that? What changes in the second fight that makes it clear, that much more clear for Andre?
Well, I think just the whole thing leading up to the second fight, the dynamics are wrong. I mean, Kovalev said he wasn't at his best. We know we weren't, at our best. That doesn't mean it's going to be significant in the outcome. I expect a tough fight, like the first one. So, but I guess he might have meant the outcome would be more, if he won, it would be more clear to those who doubted the first one that it was obviously one that they would have to, admit that he won.
Now, Michael Yormark, he said that someone's getting knocked out this fight. Do you agree with that statement, that someone is getting stopped in this fight?
It's a possibility. I only train Andre purposely to knock out somebody twice. The first one was Chad, and the second one was this one. I never trained to knock anybody out, but this one I did.
You trained him?
Only twice. I've trained him. We've trained strategy to stop somebody. That was Chad Dawson, and this was the second one.
What changes in strategy when you're going for that?
I don't necessarily want to say, but we have our ways of doing it, and he's very capable of doing it. So.
Hey, Virgil, Kovalev, he said that he tired, he gassed out in the last fight, but it wasn't a whole lot of punches thrown. Do you think he just gassed out psychologically, or what do you think he meant when he said that?
I have to take him at his word. When I look at the fight, I just don't see where he got tired. He continued to throw, and he continued to press. So I don't see personally where he got tired, and I think I can identify fatigue in a fighter pretty well. But I have to take him at his word.
Is frustrating him, outthinking him on Saturday night, is that more key maybe than out fighting him?
You can never tell what's going on in a fighter's mind. I tend to let Dre set the tone, and if we have to change it up and come in, then I'll come in, and we might change up a few things. But he's been doing it so long, and I trust him. I know exactly what I'm looking at when he's fighting, so he can set the tone. And the frustration becomes an asset for us, then we'll stay right there keeping him frustrated.
Virgil, how would the acquisition of John David Jackson have been beneficial to your team, and why did you guys reach out to him?
We didn't reach out to John David Jackson, and that's going to be proven at the press conference. You just let him talk. As anybody knows us, we let everybody talk, and then we'll come with them. But we didn't reach out to him, and we have all the evidence to prove it. So I know everybody would like that to have happened that way, but you're going to be disappointed tomorrow. So, listen, I was told that he had an interest. I thought about it for 30 seconds because he indicated that he wanted to come work with us, period, maybe relocate or something. But then, I'm not going to take on somebody who has a vendetta against somebody else, a personal vendetta against somebody else, and really all the things that were said. And it says that, he wasn't happy. He wasn't happy where he was getting treated, happy where he was getting paid. And, you know, yeah, she used the word he hated the guy. So that'll be taken care of tomorrow. We just waited for the right time.
If you guys had came into terms, how would
we wouldn't have come to terms for this fight. Because if I would have allowed that and we won, nobody here would have gave us credit. They would have said, oh, you took John David Jackson, he gave up secrets about Kovalev. So, I mean, we're not stupid. We're not going to do that and let him, you know, at the same time, if you have something personal against a fighter, you need to sort it out within yourself. If you look at the fight, you can see, you know, why he would react that way. I mean, and the fact that he was told that he can only talk for 6 rounds, that's humiliating. You know, I've been with you all this time. We rode the same train to the stations together. Now all of a sudden you're telling me I got to get off halfway to the destination. That's not something somebody gonna take easy, especially when they've labored and they know that they're being underpaid for their services. I mean, I can understand why he feels that way, but he handles it the way he wanted to. And, you know, it came to that. And, you know, whatever reason why they took that route to save face, it was sort of foolish because, you know, there's a paper trail, there's a track trail on what really happened.
Andre actually expressed that he did reveal some secrets. Can you confirm that? Did he tell you anything in particular, specific?
Did what now?
Andre said that he did reveal some secrets about Kovalev's camp. Can you confirm that he actually told you guys anything to that extent?
Well, we know a lot about his camp. We know everything that's going on.
Do you think that this fight, not only physically, each fighter is outstanding, but it'll have a lot to do between the years, the mental condition of each fighter who adapts better, and why do you think Andre is I would assume you figure he's stronger there.
Well, his ring IQ speaks for itself, but that's not to. The worst mistake you can make is to underestimate the opponent's IQ. I mean, we take it all the way to the top. Whoever we're fighting, you're the best in the world. You're the best that ever did it. That's the mindset going in. We don't want to stop the bar on 8 when we can take it all the way to 10. So the bar is set at 10 and giving him the credit that he rightfully deserves, Kovalev. Look, I said before, I'm a Sergey Kovalev fan, just not this fight, but I'm a fan of his. I knew a long time ago that if we ever moved up to light heavyweight on our own initiative, and that we would meet. You know, I understood that a long time ago. So I watched him, you know, from the time he fought Cornelius the Beast White. And I told Andre, I said, this guy here, if we ever meet one day, this guy is the one that's going to bring, you know, everything to the table and to give you an opportunity to see, you know, who you really are and what you're really all about.
Was he the best opponent Andre ever faced in his career?
I would say so, yeah. Sure.
You mentioned that you've only trained for a knockout in 2 fights. Why the Chad Dawson and why this one?
You know, the talk and everything was similar. The tactics. So, you know, me knowing Andre's mindset and, you know, how he approaches things, I told him, I said, you know, we'll train for a knockout. That doesn't mean it's going to come, but we train for it, and it'll be quite evident in the fight. He's going to get hit, because you got to get hit to get knockouts. You know, but he's been hit by Sergey, and he described the punches just as I see the punches on TV, very sharp, you know, not concussive, but sharp. You know, and after a while, if you look at his fights, he's never knocked nobody out one punch. It's accumulation of punches. You know, Pascal, you know, 2 rounds of just headshot after headshot. Well, I'm not saying he can't do it. Obviously, if you get the right spot, anybody can be knocked out by a guy with 30 fights and 4 knockouts. He knocked out 4, he can knock out 5. So, yeah, we train to get him out.
Is that has that mentality been discussed with you and Andre that, hey, I'm going to have to take some of this guy's punches to really put it on him?
We understand that. But what we want to do is make sure he doesn't get the flush punch. You know, he might graze you, the glancing punch. It might be a rush punch, you know, a punch to get off of me, or as opposed to being planted and zeroing in and boom, getting that shot. And I'm not saying that even that kind of punch can't do it. It depends on if he loses sight of the punch, or the elements are right. Even that punch can do it. But we feel like it works both ways.
Was he hurt when he got knocked down?
No, contrary to what everybody said. He said he definitely felt the blow. It was sharp. But if people want to be honest about the fight, about the knockdown, when he got up, it was 28 seconds left, wasn't it? I think it was 28 seconds left. He never landed another punch. So if he was hurt, how could he make you miss? He had the eyes and the reactions to where he never landed another punch. All you got to do is watch it after the knockdown.
No,
he never landed another punch. He might have landed a couple of grazing ones.
John David just laughed when he asked about Andre's power, and but you guys think in the second half of the fight, Andre was touching him pretty good and hurting him, and Kovalev was feeling the shots. Is that right?
Well, the fighters know. Coach Jackson, you know, he puts it the way he wants to put it. I mean, I'm a realist. I'm not hoping it turns out this way, or hoping that you can't crack, but the bottom line and the facts are that we faced many big punchers. Miranda, when he was Miranda, Abraham Froch. And for somebody who can't hit, they sure didn't want to take a chance and keep coming in there. Because when he hits you sharp and he hits you accurate. And those punches hurt. You know, he hit you hard, he hit you accurate at a high connect rate. He was second in the world behind Mayweather in connect percentage, and not that far off. I think maybe about 1 point, 1.2 or something like that. So when you got punches constantly hitting you in different places, you're gonna think twice. And he's very physically strong. So, but he does hit very hard to the body. I'll match his body punching with the best.
Mr. Hunter, now while you were in training for this particular fight, did Andre ask you anything? What should he do differently?
No. Once his knee was sound, and we knew that wasn't going to be a problem anymore, all it did is take us back to where he was before he had the knee issue. The legs in the Kessler fight, the Dawson fight, and things like that. Andre's taking great care of himself. He doesn't party, he doesn't drink, smoke, and he doesn't have any wear and tear on him from boxing. The year and a half did him good, and you know, also this will be our fourth fight. You know, to face a Sergey Kovalev with only 2 fights coming back, that's a big task. You know, ideally you would like 4 or 5 fights where you know he can get into that groove. But because the knee sort of had to make adjustments where he fought more from the waist up, he was more stationary. His in and out wasn't, because it sort of gives you, and he had his legs were spread a little wider in order to compensate for that feeling. So we just did what we had to do. And that just goes to prove that how versatile he is.
But as his trainer, though, when you observed the fight, did you suggest anything to him? Maybe slide, you know, do something a little different?
In the second fight? For this fight? No, because once the knee was sound, like I said, all the things he can do, switching to southpaw and all these things, it was apparent in camp. So it's no need at that point. I mean, at this stage, people say strategy, but at this stage with a fighter like Andre, that can adapt and fill you out, I think you would really put a little too much on the table to have an initial strategy, but we do have backup, you know, plans. If he gets knocked down again, you know, we have to go back to where we went to the first fight, take 1 round at a time, and you know, come back.
Thank you very much. I consider you one of the best trainers in the business today.
Well, I humbly accept that. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, Virgil, you said which knee was it?
I won't tell what knee it is, because if I found out a fighter had a bum knee and was in a fight like that, I might tell my fighter to knee. So I'm not gonna, I mean, it's fighting, right? I'm not gonna.
Did you say that he didn't run at all during camp?
No, we tried, but it wouldn't work, you know. So we just did other measures. I mean, we were able to do some cardio, don't get me wrong, but running is just a little different because you can simulate what you do in the ring. It just doesn't run straight ahead, backwards, laterals, skips, hops, you know, those types of things. So just wasn't able to do that. So it does compromise your legs when you're used to doing things a certain way. His legs are very important.
Hey Virgil, Sergey Kovalev, he made a couple different excuses for his performance. Did Andre Ward ever come to you and make any excuses for his performance?
No. Look, it was a tough fight. It was a great fight in my opinion. When the fight is over, it's no. I mean, you have apparent excuses like Kell Brook. I mean, it's obvious to the world that he was under distress because of his eye, or Hay with Achilles and things like that. Those things are quite obvious. But if you came to the fight and you participated in the fight, I really personally don't think you have any excuses. And when I say about his knee, I'm not making an excuse. I'm just saying that, you know, we'll have a different fighter. That doesn't guarantee victory or anything. We'll just have a different fighter.
Virgil, will Andre have to be on the inside to get his best work done? And is the outside treacherous waters with Kovalev? Is that not where you want to be?
Well, we'll see because his legs are sound.
Right.
Okay. And all I did was take him back to the Olympics with the four-time world champion that he beat, Evgeny Makarenko from Russia, and the strategy that we had to beat him. But of course, he had his legs. So in this fight, we knew he was going to be stationary. So when you're fighting in a way that, you know, over a 6-month period that you haven't really fought much in, you know, and he has a great style from that system, the Soviet style. If you haven't faced him in the amateurs, anything like that, it could be quite complicated for you, particularly one who boxes. So I don't see that being as obvious this time, but if you really look at it, if you look at the stats, we out-jabbing percentage-wise, and if you look at the power punches, we also won the percentage on that, since people love to go to the copy box, you know, and say, well, he landed 11 more punches, I think, but he threw 149 more, right? So our connect percentage was right there, right at 40, where his, I think, was under 28. So that right there, and if you look at the first 2 rounds, that's where he landed the majority of his punches. If you look at the 3rd round, like I said, and I have challenged anybody who wants to sit with me and watch the fight and prove that Sergey won the fight. Nobody's taken me up on it yet. But because I understand human nature, because when he knocks somebody down, everybody's anticipating the knockout now. So when the 3rd round starts, everybody's on his mind is he going to get it out of there this time? So they're not really watching what goes on, because when he came back after the 3rd round, I said, okay, you got that one. And, you know, I'm watching very close. But you have other people that sit right there at ringside and say a big punch land, and they show the replay later and it shows you that it missed by a foot. So that ought to tell the person, man, I'm sitting right here at ringside and I say this punch landed, but it didn't. I need to be quiet. And just announce, well, you said Jim Lampley. Yeah. And just call the fight. That's what I need to do. Or you have bitter people, for whatever reason, that don't work and sit back 8 rows, 9 rows, and say that, you know, it was home cooking. I mean, is that the way it goes? Home cooking. But, you know, like Dre said yesterday, we've seen decisions like, whoa, and nobody says nothing. They just move on to the next fight, right? But it seems like in that case, everybody's trying to prove their point, but you can prove the point with the person who's sitting right in the corner. You can bring the cameras, anything. Let's sit down and let's see if you can prove that point.
the generous offer.
Yeah.
Virgil, you were doing your best Newt Rockney late in the fight. Is that? I mean, you really were spurring Andre on. Do you feel that that helped him? Your words in the corner helped him?
I don't honestly remember what I said, and that's the truth. I don't remember what I said, and I haven't watched the fight with the sound on. I have to watch it without, and I have a hard time receiving compliments. Like when somebody says great train, I'm very humble about that because, it's a tough fraternity. The first to be fired, first to be blamed. But I just know him, so whatever I said, I feel like I said the right thing. There's another part of him that I can appeal to that doesn't even involve strategy. And just let him be himself, and he can create on the fly. That's how well I know him. I mean, he started at 9 years old. So I've seen him go through, when he first started, he was a pure fighter. Then pretty soon he was a pure boxer. And then when he turned pro, he came back to learn the inside game because I told him the only style that could beat this style is a buzzsaw, possible buzzsaw. He's very physically strong. You're talking about a kid who had a scholarship offer for D1 for safety in football. You're talking about a kid who in the 11th grade, the best miler in the state, he just running, I had him running track in track season, just a mile, just for boxing, and he loses to this kid by like 3 feet, the best in the state, and he fell out on the finish line, I've seen him catch a football in the street playing football, and just to win, dive on the concrete. So that says a lot about his will to win, and he's proven that. That doesn't mean you're not going to come up against another person just like that, or who has the ability and the assets to beat you. But I think his will to win is quite evident since he's not lost since he was 12, and he didn't lose at me. We fought a kid who later we found out the referee was from his district. His mother was one of the judges. And so and I had this fight on tape, and what was Ernie's last name? Ernie Gonzalez. And I remember Ernie about 4 years ago, he wasn't even boxing, I was going to look for money or something, said, I'm the last guy to beat him and I can beat him again. And I told him, I said, if you say it one more time, I'm going to put that tape out. And so you can see the beating you took, but they took 3 points from Andre, saying that he was pushing Ernie's head down. But Ernie was lowering his head to try to hit to the body. That's the kind of fighter he was, and the ref took 3 points from him. So you lose 2 points in amateurs, it's a wrap. You lost the fight. So we know it, that's why we feel good. So I can say his only true loss, and I'm not making an excuse again, was the kid John Revish, and he was out of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and we went to the Silver Glove Nationals, and we had the flu. And his weight went down to the next lower weight class because he didn't eat much. He was sick. So we made it to the championship, and by then, John just had enough to get a split decision.
How old was he?
13?
Yeah, just getting ready he was getting ready to turn 13. What is birthday? February 4th. He was getting ready to turn 13 because it was in February.
1997.
Yeah, his birthday is February 24th. And the Silver Glove Nationals was the first week of February, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. So he was getting ready to turn 13.
Virgil, how hurt was he in that second round when he came back to your corner?
He wasn't hurt. As I just said a few minutes ago, that if he was hurt, then you're talking about a guy who's a great finisher, who can put the finishing touches on the damage that he's done. Kovalev he's a finisher, but he never landed another blow with 28 seconds left to go. If you look at the fight, once he came back to him for the kill, Andre slipped, ducked, dodged, tied him up once, and did the same thing again, got back to the corner. He knows how to get back to the corner.
Did it surprise you when he was dropped? Or what do you recall in that moment when you saw him?
Always preparing to be knocked down. You're foolish if you don't. I don't care who he's fighting, I always preparing. Okay, come on. always preparing to be knocked down because you have to think after you knock down, you know. So always preparing, and you know, with the instructions, if I see you go down, I see you get up, so I know maybe the severity of it. And if you're not right, you know, he'll find me, and he found me in that one, and he nodded his head, so I knew he was fine. But if he was hurt and he finds me, you're not gonna get another punch in because I'm gonna tell you to take a knee. And because of his conditioning, by that time, he's come back a little bit more. So in the second round, if he'd have took a knee with the knockdown, now we're down, what, 4 rounds or something like that, but we're still in the fight. And if it's bad, just go to the ground with him. Anything it takes to get back to the corner, you do it. So he's prepared for that.
Was that a good moment for Andre to go through, to know that he can do that, he can overcome the knockdown? Was that a good moment? Did you ever wonder?
I think that's a great moment for all fighters, you know, to be hit by a big puncher and then to get up and continue to scrap, because we have to realize everybody else he hit, they cringed after he hit them. They cowered. They didn't want no more. When you have a power puncher that puts you down, you know, you got stuff running through your head. You know, like, man. So you could see the attitude of the other guys he knocked down that happened to get back up. You can see their face. They're like, I don't want no more. So they cringe away from him, which gives him the signal that you don't want no more. So he picks it up. You gotta just look at Pascal's face, Cleverly's face, all these guys. But when you looked at Andre's face, what was he doing? He was smiling.
You say
well, people always like to say when he's smiling, you hurt. I disagree with that. I saw Aguayo hit Aaron Pryor with a shot, knocked his head up, and Aaron Pryor looked at him, nodded his head, and smiled. You know, and he said later on in the interview, he hit me real hard, but I wasn't going nowhere. I just chewed that up and spit it out. Hagler with Hearns. Hearns hit Hagler with some shots that normally take guys out. But Hagler's mind was made up. When your mind is made up, you're not going nowhere. It's very tough. You put a guy out unless you can get him with that one he doesn't see.
You said you prepared him for that. Was that an accumulation of the whole time you guys have been together, or was it specific for that
Every
camp?
single fight in the pros, I prepared him for a knockdown, or if he's hurt, what to do. Every single one.
Would you say Andre's in better shape for this fight than last?
I would say he's better equipped. He proved his condition in the last fight, you know, with limitations. And, you know, like I said, he's been doing it so long that, you know, he's fighting on condition 5-6 years ago. Because he took the advice that we gave him, you know, get in shape one time. Even during the litigation time, he was in the gym 4 days a week. And that says a lot. So his dedication to winning is very, very, it's up there.
Virgil, I know Andre's a consummate pro, but with the animosity between these two guys, how do you guard against going into the ring emotional?
Andre doesn't have any animosity towards Sergey Kovalev. If you really stop and think about it, he hasn't said really much at all. And as he said, they talk, I just go to work. And then I can talk on the 17th. I prefer to talk on the fight night. But he doesn't have any animosity towards Sergey Kovalev at all. I think Sergey initiated all of this, and then it's easy to take it and sort of put it on the other side too, and say it's animosity between the two. I understand the promoting part of it and everything, you know, that excites some fans if you see the two fighters don't like each other, but he doesn't dislike anyone.